I think that we done got it now.
Yeah, we good now.
I think we done got it now. Hey, the first show of 2026. It's been Christmas. It's been New Year's. We hope that everyone has had a fabulous holiday. Everyone stayed safe. Lord knows that we have a lot that's kind of going on here in our own backyard.
Yes, we do.
And not even to speak about the things that's happening abroad. But Brother Joe.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, just loving it. Good New Year, fresh start. Steelers are winning, so I mean,
See, here we go.
I can't complain. I mean,
right.
Here we go. And wait a minute. The lady next to me, to my left, she the one that got this started with this Pittsburgh Steelers stuff going on.
No, okay. I was just kind of poking fun at him a little bit because I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, here we are, 2026, the first episode of Let's Talk About It. We have had some very fabulous shows. We have had some outstanding guests, in our studio over the years. We have had, two politicians in here. Both young ladies have went on to win their individual seats, which has been absolutely phenomenal. And we look forward, to 2026 and having, even more industrial, revolutionary, guest on our show.
That's right. I'm a revolutionary. That's my biker name.
So, but before we get started, we got to hit you with that backpack and that some housekeeping rules and things of that nature. I will say this here. We're going to go ahead and get this on out the way. The Bears, did they make it?
Yeah, they made it.
They made it to the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay, they play Green Bay. That's right. They play Green Bay coming up here on Sunday.
They play Green Bay. Oh, well, they did the border battle. That was something different.
Yeah. Okay. No, so you guys played Green Bay.
Minnesota did that. That's right. I forget.
Minnesota did what?
The border battle thing last weekend.
So you guys play Green Bay at home this weekend. Pittsburgh, who do y'all play?
No, we play the Texans. At home.
At home, okay. And even though that my beloved Vikings went on a 5-0 winning streak at the end, it was basically kind of all for nothing, because we are at home for the remainder of the year. There's a lot of conversation about who's staying, who's leaving. We know for a fact that we need a quarterback. There's no doubt about that there. But we have so much to talk about that we're not even going to waste a lot of time talking about sports. Brother Joe, I'm going to go ahead and quickly turn it on over to you, brother, so you can go ahead and hit him with that famous backpack and some groundkeeping rules. Put in there before we can go ahead and get this kick off this new year.
Okay, well, we just asked that everybody respect everyone's comments. Remember, no such thing as a bad questions, but you can always hit us up in the inbox, text us, or call us, and we'll do our best to return your information either on this show or the very next show. As you know, we start, middle, and end the show with the backpack.
That famous backpack.
And that backpack consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance review before you get in that vehicle. Remember to place them above the visor. That way, if stopped by law enforcement, it won't be mistaken for a weapon. Remember to stay calm. Keep your hands so they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel. And as always, make it on home to your loved ones. Same thing walking down the street. Make sure you got your driver's license or ID where it's easily accessible. Remember to stay calm. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel. And as always, make it on home to your loved ones. Little added to that, since everything's happening with immigration, make sure you got your passport or something that shows that you are American. Remember to stay calm. I know it's frustrating when you're getting stopped by law enforcement, but stay calm. Think your way through it. Officer, I've got my passport or my U.S. identification with me. We can clear this up right away. The goal is to get home safely, folks. And since we have law enforcement who is saying today that they're not really supporting law enforcement while doing their job, it's important that you keep yourself safe by being prepared to encounter these folks. And understand that when they give you an order, it is still a lawful order. All right. And just take 1 second and break this down. Federal law enforcement does trump state and county law enforcement. Absolutely. All right. And so we want to honor the partners in doing their job, but we want to be as clear as possible about the job to be doing. So when it comes to immigration, we like to get our leadership in those meetings so we know who they're looking for, what addresses they're going to, and try to provide the community with as much information on the process of what's happening. We need to get better signs out so that people understand that there's a couple of reasons why you're going to get arrested, either that they have a warrant for your arrest or they have first-hand knowledge to show that you shouldn't be here and you're trying to abscond. Outside of that, people have rights, so we need to be making sure that we're doing that. Unfortunately, our law enforcement hasn't done that. They're kind of hands off. We're not involved. We're not a part. And there's no way not to be a part of immigration because it happens all year round. And we're just, in a situation that's really bad because of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just in addition to that, before we get to our special guest here, is that, we still have a lot of citizens that are here as well. And you too need to make sure that you have, your IDs, your permit to carry, things of that nature. Make sure that you understand the difference between a permit to purchase and a permit to carry. So then therefore you're not kind of getting caught up on silly things that can still kind of land you in a little bit of hot water. Maybe not so much as far as ICE and potentially being deported or whatever the case may be, but it's still an uncomfortable situation at best. And you still want to make sure that you are getting home, to your loved ones as smoothly and easily as possible. This is the election year.
Yes, it is.
This is the election year. And with that being said, we have a guest in the house. That's no stranger.
That's right. I am not a stranger.
And again, she's back for the second time. And this is how we're going to start out 2026.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Let's
kick it out.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Miss Angela.
Yes.
How you been?
I'm good. Thank you.
How was your holidays?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Quiet, peaceful. It was wonderful.
We do it like that when we get a little up there, right?
Yeah, we don't be bothered with all that stuff that we used to do in our 20s and 30s and 40s anymore.
Right. Well, Miss Angela, again, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back. You have a lot of insight on a lot of different things that's occurring right here in our own backyard.
That's right.
Particularly today, as we're talking about the election year,
right?
And we're going to,
I got a lot to say about that.
You'll be talking to Joe here in just a second, as he's running for Hennepin County Sheriff.
Yes, I'm voting for him because DeWanda was standing up there like.
She was as surprised as you were, but remember, they're not involved.
Well,
right. That's right. They can't do nothing.
So with that being said. Just from a community member standpoint first. Right. All right. Because we know that you have done a lot of other different things in the community as well. From a community member standpoint, this being an election year, obviously taking into account of all of the things that's kind of happening in our own backyard right now. What is it that you think, feel, and believe, or why this stuff is kind of going on? And what changes would you like to see in your community? I'm
going to start with the changes first.
Okay.
We need to wipe the slate clean. We need a new mayor. We need a whole system of a new government from the governor's office on down. Okay. Governor, county, city, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We need a whole new slate. We don't have leaders right now. We don't have anybody that's leading its citizens. It's a lot of corruption going on. We can't trust any of them. It's from Governor Walz, Senator Champion, Attorney General Ellison, on down. We don't have anybody. And it's really shameful or embarrassing for the Black community to not have nobody. We already ain't got nothing. Ain't nobody building no schools. Ain't nobody doing nothing. I just happened to see coming down University, Lowry and University, I thought that school right there on the corner is a Hispanic high school now.
Okay.
When did that happen? When did that happen? While black folks sitting around talking about hair. But anyway, we don't have any leadership. We're in trouble. We can't trust nobody.
So
we can trust Joe. Okay, Joseph Banks for Hennepin County Sheriff, everybody.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, but we can't trust nobody else.
So how do you think, Phil, or believe something like that there would occur, as far as being able to kind of wipe the slate clean and being able to kind of start over? So then therefore we can communicate, we have transparency, people telling the truth, people being held accountable,
right.
Things of that nature. Because what you're saying, is not necessarily wrong,
right?
But it is definitely a tall ask.
Yeah, and no, I don't know how they would do it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, we don't have a deputy mayor, so if we impeached him, who would take over? I don't know who would be next in line for that. Maybe the council president or something. I'm not really sure. And Elliot Payne.
Yeah, it would be the council president.
Yeah, and then for governor, we got Peggy Flanagan, but she kind of in the hot seat with him. Attorney General, who would we have? Senate President.
So what? I don't know. What is it that you would like to see occur?
I would like to see them talk to the community and be accountable for it, and say, this is what happened. This is what happened on our watch. We sorry that we didn't do more to stop it or something. Say something. They're not saying nothing to us. Nothing. I sent a letter 2 weeks ago to Keith, Bobby Joe, Jacob, Latricia, Irene, Angela. And I forgot to send it to Jamal Osmond.
So you sent a letter. What was this letter?
I was saying, can y'all please say something? Say something to the community. Y'all, all of this corruption going on and everybody sitting on their hands. And I was like, it's shameful that we have to, go through this as a community. I said, you all are our leaders. We voted for you. Our vote is being handled right now. I told them I don't like being handled. That's why I'm single. So I don't like being handled. So
wait a minute. PG.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna keep it PG. But they handling us. They coming and they asking and pleading for our votes, and then they take the votes and then they say, screw you behind it.
Well, I want to say that I can appreciate and welcome, your passion, for what you believe in.
Right.
I hear it and I see it, in your aura, and I definitely respect it for sure.
Thank you.
Brother Joe, I'm going to ask you, the election year, 2026.
Let me just interject. Let me interject before you get to that. Because today's death of that lady, of the young lady that got shot by ICE agent. Her death is on the hands of our government, Minnesota government.
Well, before we go there.
And so when we'll get to that. Okay, I just want to
we'll get to that. But with that being said, even though that she didn't call her, made me lose my little train of thought because she went down a road.
But she was asking him about 2026 election.
Right. So again, this being the election year, 2026, you can kind of say, we've kind of been there. We've done that, right? A lot of stuff is all about timing, right? And obviously there's been a lot of things that has occurred, over the last 4 years. We have a profound guest in our studio today that is basically saying that she's hurting. And I can guarantee you that she is not the only community member that's hurting, that really don't know what to think and how to feel or what to believe, as she has clearly indicated that there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of mistrust, things of that nature. Now, I understand, that being the sheriff, can only kind of do so much, right? But it is definitely a position in our community, in our society, that has a very strong voice. right?
Well, the sheriff is responsible for community safety, but understand this. I mean, Angela's in a position because she's always speaking the truth, and people bury the truth. They don't want to hear the truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's going to always be coming up against obstacle because what she's saying is the truth, and the truth can actually draw you or drive you, right? And it's driving folks. And the problem of it is, as you saw with Governor Walsh, we said a long time ago that in order for fraud to occur at the lower levels, someone above has to say, yep, it's okay, we're going to let it go through. And now everybody's acting surprised. Right. We have to hold our politicians accountable. You know what I'm saying? The sheriff can't be everybody's friend. When you gonna go to work? Because we happy that you're smiling and shaking hands and showing up to all the nice locations. But when you gonna actually get out the car and arrest the real criminals? Right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And we said things like, well, we're not involved in ICE. But when ICE comes into our community and does something to one of our residents, are we still not going to do nothing? I mean, what does it take to be safe?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got an entire city full of police telling about, I didn't do anything, we wasn't there. Man, why weren't you not there?
They were told not to be there.
You know, who told you couldn't be in your own city? Who told you couldn't be in your own county? Where did that power come from? Because the last time I checked, the sheriff answered to the United States Marshal, right?
Right.
So, and you're responsible for keeping everybody safe. It's my feeling, my belief that you should be in that meeting. And we should be clear about what we want these agents to do. They're going to do their jobs regardless. But we're going to say, hey, when you come to Minneapolis, Hennepin County, hey, the mask got to come off.
That's right.
Okay, you ain't going to terrorize people in my community. You can do your job. I need to know where you're going,
right? Who
you're looking for, what are those addresses. We're going to publicize some of those names because we're going to give people the opportunity to humanely self-turn themselves in. Some people may say, you know what, I'm paying for my own ticket home. Right. Remember, immigration is civil. This is not a criminal act. Right. Even though there's a warrant in place for your arrest, you can still self-surrender and go, you know what, I'm going home.
You can volunteer to go home.
Right. You should be able to contact your family. You should know the process. But understand this, immigration can't do that when their law enforcement partners are refusing to work with him. And so the reason why the community is not getting that information is because you're not giving it to them. Right? You're not giving them a pathway. These agents are out here with no communication with dispatch unless they dial 911. Right? Why don't they have that communication? Because our leadership is so worried about the politics and the optics of it that they've decided it looks better if we go, no, not us. You see how that worked out. And I've been telling you, it's tragic that this young lady lost her life.
Yeah.
But this is the reality of when you do not do your job.
That's right.
Absolutely.
There's also the reality when white folks don't stay out of other folks' business. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying all day. I didn't see this type of organizing when it was slavery. Y'all let black folks suffer 400-500 years. We still slaves. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. I'm not unsympathetic to the young lady. I feel bad that she got hurt, but she shouldn't have been there. She should have been in the car, whatever her and her wife was doing. They should have did it and went home. But she chose to park and block. And then, you know, it's unfortunate. It happened. You know what I'm saying? And the government is responsible. Governor Walz, Attorney General Ellison, all of them from the top down are responsible.
So let me ask you this here. We had a little conversation, you know, off camera before we kind of came on. And, you know, we were talking about both, you know, the fraud, if you would, that's kind of going on, you know, at the level that it is. But we were also kind of talking about a lot of the local, you know, issues. And
yes, all the poverty pimps.
You know, with a lot of these nonprofits and things of that nature. What is your insight? You know,
expose them. Expose these monsters. They monsters. They getting rich off of people's pain, off of people's oppression. They're monsters, and they black too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it might be some that's whatever, but I'm talking about our black leaders because I'm black. You know, we supposed to be better than this. Why, after everything that our ancestors went through, we ain't nowhere. We don't have no place in this world. Nowhere. We don't have nothing established. Nothing. We don't have anything, no schools for our children, no free medical centers for our homeless. We don't have housing for our homeless. When Tim Baylor and all them, Devin George and everybody building stuff, that building, the Satori over there, 1 bedroom is $1,600. You know what I'm saying? And so anybody with Section 8, you got to pay 50% of your income. You on Section 8 though. So our leaders and all of this stuff that's going on, it's on them. And I say that from the bottom of my heart to our Black leaders. You all have failed us. And then hopefully the Black community will wake up and stop voting for people because they like them and start voting for people that's doing their job and bringing what we need to our community. Our kids don't even know how to cursive write. They stopped teaching them how to cursive write. So what is everybody doing? What is everybody doing? It's all about the money. The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. They love money more than they love humanity. And that's what it's about. They don't care about us. These Somalis, we got a flag that look like a Somali flag. These Somalis come in, they stole all this money, and then they paid these politicians to not say nothing. They use the Black race card, and they not Black. They Somali. And then you hear all this stuff, these Somali leaders talking about Black folks come from one night stands, they don't know who their father is and all that stuff. Come on, man. For real?
Yeah. Well,
one quick, somebody's asking that we pull the camera back. They can't see all of us.
Go get dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, go get Adam. I would go get Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let him do it.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
so sorry that I guess maybe we should have caught that because
they wanted to see you up close.
They can hear us. So,
but yeah,
the
go
other
ahead.
one don't look like. Oh,
yeah.
They had it fixed at first. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I think it's switched out or something.
Oh, okay.
We'll get that technical difficulty taken care of, and whomever that is, thank you for letting us know about that. There.
That is Delisha Beeks.
Oh,
okay, thanks, Delisha.
Thank
Oh, that's
you.
your cousin?
That's my cousin.
Oh, it's nothing like family support.
Right.
But yeah, we Black folks, we need to get it together so bad. Now, I've been getting beat up all day on Facebook. I've been called evil, terrible person. I done got cussed out. I done got called the B word. All type. Ain't none of this stuff my fault. Y'all don't like to hear the truth. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear it. This ain't nobody's fault. This is immigration. Stay out the way.
Right.
Just stay out the way. Let these people do their job so they can get on up out of here and leave.
Right.
But if y'all go be interfering in the process, then there's time that there will be casualties of war. That's what I call it.
Right. Absolutely.
You in the way, baby.
All right. I think that we didn't kind of fix that issue. That was pretty simple, but yet
it started off like that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I think both of you guys make a really good point. There's so many things happening, and I think that you're right on the head. It is the leadership, and at some point we have to hold the leadership accountable. And this is what happens when you go to the poll. You're supposed to switch out the leadership because the folks that are in weren't doing the job. And you have to look at it and say, okay, what was your agenda, right? Is your agenda to take care of Minneapolis or just to take care of the things you want out of Minneapolis? There's a when you decide to be a candidate in Minneapolis, you should consider the fact that, hey, the people on the streets living there need help. There's areas of the street that need to be cleaned up. Why are you not seeing that? Are you coming to work every day saying you represent Minneapolis, but you don't see that the cleanliness that Minneapolis was known for is no longer there?
Absolutely.
Especially on the north side.
Yeah, on the north side, there was places I would drive through, and the grass was meeting the trees at the bottom throughout the summer. And I said something about that, like, how is that possible when, there's ordinances that require that you keep your grass neat and clean? So, I mean, these folks see this and they choose not to do anything about it. And again, like I said, when it comes to the immigration issue, listen, immigration occurs all year round because that's how we protect our borders. So no one's not saying we shouldn't do immigration. It's been heightened since the president paid more attention to it. But understand, he's giving an order. It's up to the individual agents on how we're going to actually carry it out. And I think we can ask that they do it humanely. I think we can do that. And I think if we're in those meetings with the leadership, when they say, hey, we're coming to Minnesota, you go, yep, well, we want to be a part of that so that we can know who you're looking for. Right? I don't think anybody has a problem with you making those lists of people you're looking for public, because you're giving them an opportunity to either self-turn themselves in, you're giving people comfort in knowing, okay, they're looking for specific individuals and not just blanketly tackling cultures. Right? And so when you do that, then you put those signs out that let people know, hey, here's what your rights are. Here's how you communicate to find out where your family members are. This is the process. They're going to go here, and then you'll be able to communicate with them there, and then they'll be transported here. But for right now, it just appears as that you gave them a blank check and they're just grabbing. So I will say this. I know it looks bad for immigration agents to be out there just moving in mobs, grabbing people. But what you have to understand from a logistical standpoint is they don't know the people, right? And when they can't hand those names off to the locals who know those environments and know where they are, they're forced to go out where their intel is telling them there's groups. And then we're going to sift through, because what's happening is they're grabbing folks up. They're trying to identify them. If there's someone that's on the list and they go, yep, he's a keeper, not let him go.
Right.
So this is what I will say, because I'm going to be a little bit of a double advocate here. Right. The same way that they don't know the community don't know them as well. With the mask.
The community knows that they're law enforcement. That's all the community needs to know, and the community needs to stay out the way.
Well, here's the thing is that anyone, and it's not very difficult to go out, to a lot of different places and get a tactical vest and have something on it that says ICE or anything that may think that you're law enforcement or something like that. There, I'm not taking anything away from law enforcement. All I'm saying is
a lot of bad actors.
We have to also be able to identify them just as much as they have to be able to identify us. Again, like you said earlier, that's when we have our local and state agencies at those tables getting that information, so then therefore they can
because empower. When you're in those meetings, you're going to tell them, this is what I need you to look like in my community. So
absolutely.
So folks can identify you. We're not hiding people, right? The goal of immigration is not to hide people or who they are. The goal is to gain compliance, right? And so we're hoping to have people understand that, listen, there's a chance you've been here and the process didn't work in your favor, but now you have to leave, right? But humanely, I want you to be able to get your, affairs in order. I want you to be able to say, hey, family, you know what? I'm going to have to leave. The reason why I say that is because of this. When you got some families that got here, even though their paperwork is not in order, they've had some children here.
Right.
By law, those children are now American citizens, but we're taking the parents away, right? So we want to have proper steps in place to make sure that they're not just leaving kids here and gone.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we want to give people a chance to either turn themselves in, get their affairs in order, and then when that doesn't happen, then we can say, look, we're looking for Mr. Smith at this address, and then I can come to you and say, hey, Beeks, you're a Minneapolis officer. This is the address that we need to go to. We need to go here. Can you put some logistics in place to check that place out, and maybe have some cops either stand by while we come over and do our job? But that takes away from a group of guys in a truck jumping out in a crowd going, we're going to grab everybody over here that's brown skinned and then start trying to feed them through, right? And so it creates panic. And the thing I want people to understand is a lot of folks who are immigrants here in their homeland, when somebody maxed up, it meant nothing good. Right? To them, it meant nothing good. And so we have to understand the optics of what we're terrorizing our citizens. right? And
They're not citizens if they're illegal.
well, but you know what though?
And they're not citizens if they stealing money.
But we have to prove that they're not citizens, and they should still be afforded the opportunity to self-surrender or communicate that I'm not a citizen. And at the same time, though, remember, not having a citizenship where it is in violation of the civil ordinances, right, and criminal in nature in some fact, you still have to give people their right to due process.
And right, exactly. And that's exactly where I was going, because again,
Black folks don't have due process.
We can't stick everyone, in the same boat. Now, I get it, that, it's heightened, as far as the spotlight being on Somalis right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the whole reason why ICE is here.
But I don't believe for one second that every Somali that we have, the 80-something odd thousand Somalis that we have here in the state of Minnesota, all of them are involved in fraud. I don't believe that for one. That's just like, me believing that every Black folks, is out here selling drugs or in a gang or whatever the case. That's not true, So that's why we need to have, like you were saying, these systems in place, being at the table, getting the information, allowing certain things to kind of happen in a humane way. So then therefore it doesn't come down to these unfortunate situations that we've seen in our community as of today, where there was a young lady's life that was lost. And
she shouldn't have been there.
Well,
she should not have been there.
I will say this here. I don't know if she should have been there or not. I don't think that she should have gotten involved. Right?
Same thing. Shouldn't have been there, shouldn't have gotten involved.
Being in a location and getting involved is two totally different things.
Well, she was parked sideways in the middle of the street on Portland.
Now that's an action.
That's an action.
So she could have still been in that community. She shouldn't just never taken those actions that she took.
That's right.
So
she could have been standing on the sideline like everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And protesting, if you will, lawfully.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't protest lawfully because there was another white guy over there. He was by himself. He had his coat around his waist. He had on a tank top or a t-shirt with the sleeves cut, his arms out, standing with his arm raised. I don't know what he was saying. All I know is I was watching Fox News and they had, the different screens up and they was talking, but they was showing the people out there beat him up on TV.
Who's the people?
The people that was out there.
The community?
The community. They beat this man up.
So it wasn't law enforcement?
It wasn't law enforcement.
Okay.
It was the community. You know what I'm saying? So amidst of everything, like, white folks, y'all need to sit down because this ain't y'all fight either. Just like it ain't Black people. This is a fraud fight. And anybody that has been committing fraud should get what they call it? When
exposed,
they exposed and they should be charged, take their citizenship, whatever it is. And if it's, our local people, the people that live here, they should go to jail. It's so much fraud going on. It's food pantry fraud. You know what I'm saying? They're getting food. Hispanics getting food from food pantries, taking it to their businesses. You know what I'm saying? They're using EBT fraud. Me and my friends been talking about this for years. Somali families getting $1,600 a month. Come on now. I mean, for real. We wouldn't have this problem if they treated regular citizens first. Just like Donald Trump say, America first. You know what I'm saying? We come first. Black folks built this country. And we still ain't got nothing. But here immigrants come to our country and get everything. That's how they was sending messages. Ooh, come to Minneapolis. You could get rich coming to Minneapolis.
Well, let's be clear that.
Well, these are my opinions.
When they had people come here, it was because they were seeking asylum, but they got federal funds from them coming here.
Yeah.
And so, now that they're here and they're learning the system and learning what they're being taught, because a lot of, some of the fraud that has occurred, like you said, it's not everybody, but understand this. If they're coming here to learn our system, where do you think they learn the fraud from?
Right.
Right. And so when we have a bad actor, I say this, they might have learned the fraud, but somebody in a position was able to allow that fraud to flow.
Right.
right? And it wasn't until somebody got mad about not getting their part that the whistleblowing began. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's what I think been happening, because right now that it's exposed, that means somebody inside the fraud said, "I'm telling."
Why? Because they didn't get no money.
There you go. There you go.
Because they didn't get no money.
That's
Well,
it
you
right
know,
there.
we have, I mean, I've stated, for the last several years that, there's way too many individuals and entities that's placing personal, political, and financial gain in front of doing what's right.
Right.
And unfortunate that just kind of continues. But I will say this here, whether you're, Somali, whether you're African American, whether you're Hispanic or any other nationality for that matter, whether you're committing fraud or any other crime, you need to be brought to justice.
That's right.
And let the system do what it needs to do, work the way that it's supposed to work. And but we also need, our governors. We need, our attorney generals. We need our
senators,
we need
representatives,
our sheriff, and everything else to be able to work.
Now check this out. We got to understand too that this fraud. Let's not get confused. The fraud is not just happening at the street level.
Right.
Though.
We know
Absolutely.
The fraud that we're talking about is at the executive level, where they're. You understand what I'm saying?
that. Yep.
And it's of a nature where the people I really feel hurt for are the folks who need the services and now
can't get them.
Can't get them because of bad actors,
Yeah.
right? So those people who actually need that money for their addiction and recovery stuff, they can't
Or
get
they
it.
rent paid, and I'm calling out Clarence Hightower, Community
they
Action Partnership.
It's just terrible. It's terrible because these people aren't getting services,
Right.
That they
Rent
need.
not getting paid.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm sad about. There are some kids that are starving that need those funds that aren't going to get it. There are some families that need daycare. They aren't going to get it, right? Because those funds are either frozen or they're no longer existing. And the time period that we're utilizing to figure it out, those people are going to go without.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, like you said, the local level, local boots on the ground organizations getting all this money to provide services in areas where they're not providing services. And then they get mad and then want to defend themselves when you call them out. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not fair to me or anybody else that has to have to use these services, because I've been had a business. I've been doing housing. I've been a housing organizer since 2007. When I came here in 2018, when I moved here, 2019, I started Housing Resource Network because people here didn't know their rights. Tenants was taken advantage of, So that's when I started the fight and started that. And I've helped tons of people, you know what I'm saying? But when there's money that's out there and people are taking advantage of it, and then people like me who's actually doing the work, and some other folks that I know, we can't get it because we talk about, we expose a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so we don't get it because we're not part of that. Somebody told me, was it last summer or summer before last? You're not part of the clique, you're not getting no money.
Yeah.
Well,
So
go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
There's so much drama. When I look at this, how I look at it, there's so much drama that it distracts from progress.
Right.
Right. Minnesota still doesn't have a Black-owned bank.
Nope. Whatever happened to Independence Bank? Where did it go? Okay. Right.
We said Black-owned.
Right. Right.
Not Black ran. Huh?
Not Blackish.
Oh, okay.
Not Blackish.
Not Blackish. All right.
But we still, and it's important because why do I say that? Because even though we have Black folks trying to build businesses, they got nowhere to go for finances. And when we talk about them getting help, they either got to get approved through other organizations or programs that don't have their best interest in heart. And when we talk about Black businesses, we always hear about the success, but when you turn around and say, since you being successful, why don't you contribute? The distrust is there, so they don't even want to give their own. Right. And so we can't really grow commerce like we need to unless you're in certain cliques. Right. And when you're in those certain cliques, then you're able to get money until somebody's angry. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is, it's a distraction from us growing our community. No doubt we got plenty of money. Right.
Oh, yeah. The reparations could have been paid.
But we ain't getting it. We ain't seeing it, and it ain't going where it needs to go.
And we ain't gonna get it.
So here's the thing.
Because we got Black folks in office that don't want to help the Black community.
So here's the thing. We have come down to the end of
So
another
quick,
spirited,
4 minutes.
fabulous show. But before we kind of, get out of this door, before we kind of get out this room, it's election year, right? And so I want to give you 1 minute,
Okay.
if you will,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to share, with our listening and viewing audience, that why is it important to get out and vote, and what does voting mean?
Voting has power. Y'all, please don't think your vote doesn't mean anything. It means everything. That's why they come in our communities soliciting, trying to finesse our vote. And you got to watch out for everybody that's running for office, because this, I always ask, what is your agenda? I don't know if people don't understand the word agenda or what, but no one has one. So if you ask somebody, what is your agenda on housing? And they say, oh, well, housing is a human right, blah, 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 this and that. And they don't have an outline on paper. What they're doing, they don't have an agenda. And that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for an outline. I'm looking for independent and dependent variables. You know what I'm saying? So just watch out, y'all, who you vote for. Ask the tough questions. Make sure they got your best interest. Form groups, organize. If you have to sit at the table with somebody, make them sign a community benefits agreement where it benefits everyone and just not them or you.
Right. Well,
and get our flowers off of KMOJ. Please, Stuttering Stanley.
So,
now I had to
Brother
get that
Joe,
off my chest. Because that's another fraud. They don't want to hear a different opinion.
I typically have a lot more control over these shows.
I'm sorry.
But I feel like I done lost a little bit of something tonight.
I'm sorry.
I didn't have too many distractions in the background. I feel like I'm a little lost
all right.
today.
It's okay.
Brother Joe, here we are.
I'm doing y'all Valentine's show.
2026, and we are going to. We have a fight in front of us, right? There's a lot of things that's occurring that we're going to need to address, right? And I believe that these things that we're going to need to address is going to need an agenda, right?
Yes.
With that being said, what is one thing that we want to leave, with our listening and viewing audience, about what our agenda is?
Change, because what we're going through is what business looks like as usual. When these politicians tell you, oh, we're going to hit the ground running and things are going to be better, and we're already in office and we're the incumbents and we're doing a good job, don't believe the hype, right? We're going to be doing some things that's completely different, that's going to turn some heads, because we're not going to do business as usual. We're not going to follow policy. We're going to set policy, right? So that's what's going to be different now going forward in this campaign, is that the people going to have a voice when they deal with me, because I'm listening. I'm out there with them every day. I see what they're going through. And when I talk to you, I know if you ain't been out there with them, because I know you way off base. You have no clue what they dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
People are tired, hungry, homeless. You know what I'm saying? They going through it right now. And while we playing games with their livelihood, they're suffering. And we can't do that no more. We have to say what we mean and mean what we say.
That's
and
right.
that's how it's going to be.
Joseph Banks for Hennepin County Sheriff.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it's always fun. It's always energetic, as you can see, and starting off 2026 has been a little bit boring than but I like it. I love it.
Hey.
Miss Angela, you
Yes,
are
thank
more
you.
than welcome to come back. You know,
I'm gonna
when
do
you get
y'all love
ready.
show. I got something for you.
All right. I'm almost scared to ask what that is.
Don't be scared. It's all good. It's all about love.
Yeah. You know, but again, you know, people, this platform is for you. Please feel free to kind of come on down. You know, let's talk about whatever it is that's, you know, concerning to you. Get involved. We said this before. You have to make sure that you get involved. If it has never have been a time, now is the time for you to get involved. Get to know your neighbors, you know, as Angela stated earlier, do some organizing, you know, things of that nature. But it is imperative that you do not get bamboozled or continue to kind of vote for folks just because you know their name, you know, or whatever the case may be. Look at what is important for you. Ask those tough questions. You know, this is a very critical time, and we cannot stress that enough on Let's Talk About It. But again, you know, we have gotten the big dog from CCX Create that came in the house. You know what I'm saying? He looking at us about to turn off them lights on us. But no, we definitely want to thank CCX Create for all of the love, you know, that they have shown us over the years.
Yes.
And allow us to be here each and every Wednesday, you know, to bring you news that is important to you. Remember, they're always looking for new shows themselves. So, you know, come on down and, you know, maybe start your own, you know, thing with CCX Create as well. They are doing some fabulous things. They have gotten some really nice new equipment and all this other type of stuff.
Yeah.
The people here, honestly, are fantastic. They will truly, you know, take the shirt off their backs, you know, to help you out. And we cannot thank them enough for the things that they have done. He said, what size shirt you wear?
2X.
Right. But again, we cannot do this alone, right? So I know that times are hard. People are living paycheck to paycheck, but any donations that you may have, you know, to help CCX Create continue to grow and reach the communities that they do with the information that they have. We are not the only program, you know, that's here. They have a lot of fabulous programs that they do on a daily basis throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. They need our support. They need our help. And that's both being in these seats and also, you know, doing some donations, you know, if you can. Any quarter, 50 cent, any dollar, you know, will help make that happen. Brother Joe, I'm going to go ahead and kind of turn it on over to you so you can go ahead and close this out and get on up out of here.
All right, guys, you know, thank you for joining us. You know, real quick, I just want to say our condolences go out to this young lady's family. She lost her life tragically enough, and her death just terrorizes the community more for fear of what the ultimate thing they were afraid of was that someone might die. And so this is the community's fear, and I hear it. I hear it, and I hear you. And so we just pray for that family and that they find some peace during this, you know, terrible time, and that the community begins to find some peace, and that our leadership understands that this is why we must do more. We have to do more. All right. With that being said, you know, we start, middle, and the end the show with the backpack.
That famous backpack.
And that backpack consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance before you get in that vehicle. Remember to place them above the visor. That way, if stopped by law enforcement, it's easily accessible and won't be mistaken for a weapon. Remember to stay calm, keep your hands where they can be seen, allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always, make it on home to your loved ones. Same thing when walking down the street. Make sure you got your driver's license or ID where it's easily accessible. Remember to stay calm, keep your hands where they can be seen, allow the officer to go through always feel, and as always, making it home to your loved ones.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, Angela, we thank you for coming out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so much fun. Go Chicago. Go Caleb.
Hey guys, remember, get out. If you see something, say something. Support your community. Be involved. Be aware. Keep your eyes out and head on a swivel. Right. Make sure you got your passports or something to identify who you are as a citizen.
And I definitely want to apologize to our listening and viewing audience. We've definitely had some technical difficulties tonight, but we will ensure that we fix those. So then, therefore, we will not have those little distractions in the future.
Yes. With that being said, my name's Joe Beeks.
And I'm Anthijuan Beeks.
And we just talked about it.
Peace.
Peace out.